Hey everyone, Fina here from Fina Reads. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today with a book review of a rather surprising book for me, which is Perilous Times. I'm trying to not get the glare here, I apologize. Perilous Times by Thomas D. Lee, which is a sci-fantasy, post-apocalyptic, Arthurian saga retelling, mixed all in one with a awesome cover, including glare. I apologize for that, but I received that hardcover, which is the UK version. The US version looks very differently, and I had to protect it immediately. So let's put the book down so I don't glare at you the entire time, and let's tell you a little bit more what this book is about. Perilous Times is set in a not too distant future where the environment is just done. Several animal species already died, lakes are yucky, the air's muggy, it's just simply said terrible. And the book is set in Britain, where we see cities like London, Manchester, big cities, right? Big metropolis towns, vivid, full of life, all dead, flooded, run down. You don't even want to go there anymore. Instead, people live in raggedy camps. It's really messy. I even had situations where I was like, oof, if I would have to live in a situation like this, could I actually handle it just mentally? It is stinky, boy. And we jump into the first chapter of the book where Kay is kind of crawling out of her grave, harm out, all that kind of stuff. And he's trying to figure out, okay, why am I here? What has happened? He sees a big factory further away, and he sees there's something going on. He hears gunshots at that factory, so, without hesitation, he runs towards it, and he sees a woman running away from that whole scene, followed by a big explosion, loud noises, and a dragon coming out of this whole thing. And he was like, okay, this woman is in peril, I have to help her, so that's what I will do. So he grabs her, both are running from the people following them, from the dragon, and somehow they get to safety into a little bunker where the woman, Mariam, points a gun at him and says, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And he was like, well, I might as well tell her. We'll see if she believes me. And Kay tells his story, that he is a knight from the Round Table, and that he is resurrected every time Britain is in peril. He doesn't know quite yet what the situation is he has to save Britain from quite yet. He's pretty sure, though, it has to do with her and that dragon that they were running from, but he doesn't know anything further, really. Which leads her to shooting him. He comes back to life, goes back to the bunker where they were to say, like, listen, I just told you everything. Can you please not? And they continue their journey together. And then throughout the book, we see both Mariam and Kay deal with just that reality that is the world right now. We see them struggle with the decisions that they have to make and the challenges that they face. And we get to meet a whole bunch of crazy, sometimes not so crazy folks, and all of them together kind of figuring out how to save the planet. So what's so special about this book? So first of all, I think it's a fantastic combination of post-apocalyptic sci-fi and fantasy stories. It's the reimagination of the Arthurian tale, of the Arthurian knights, of the Round Table, packed into the future where the world has to deal with environmental issues, climate change, all that kind of stuff. And it's a really well done mix of the two, which I would have never thought about it, putting Arthurian knights, like the actual Arthurian knights, not a variation thereof, but I mean, it's the resurrected Arthurian knights, put them into the future and have them deal with the world collapsing because, environment is just done. There's no fresh air anymore. There are not enough trees, not enough animals, all that kind of stuff. And thinking through how medieval knights would have dealt with that is incredibly fascinating to me. And you can imagine that a story like this deals with a lot of hope and grief, friendship, good and evil just in general, and that book packs a bunch of that stuff into one nice, compact, standalone story. What did I like in particular? Well, definitely the characters. They are fun, they're snarky, they're feisty. They go through a lot of stuff. They have flaws and worries, and it just makes them more real as a result of that. And in addition, you have the POV, not just of Kay as a knight from the Round Table, you get a couple of other POVs from other knights of the Round Table as well. And that mix of not necessarily medieval thinking, because they have been resurrected a couple of times throughout the centuries, but still kind of an old-timey way of thinking of things versus a very modern world with feminism and all that kind of stuff. And it's a really cool clash of characters, a really cool mix. And seeing how these characters deal with it was a fantastic journey. Not just the characters from the past, but also the glimpses into the past these characters give us was also very interesting. Again, it's this mix of modern and medieval that is done really well in this book. Another point for me was the plot itself, kind of this hopeful view on the climate change, but realizing that it can't be solved without sacrifices, without challenges, without just despair. And he tackled this issue of climate change and on helping the environment in a very unique way. I mean, it's a very devastating topic, and he figured out how to make it entertaining while talking about, hey, how could we maybe solve this now rather than waiting for a future that is shown in the book. And then, I mean, let's face it. Yes, the main focus of the story is the discussion around environmental issues, but the big plot driver of this are the Arthurian knights, and they are so well done. We talked already about Kay, but of course you also get to meet very well-known characters like Arthur and Merlin. Even Nimue comes out of the, well, yucky pond and throws Excalibur out of it. It is fantastic. It's a great mix of characters that you know, brought to life in a really interesting way, and it's just a lot of fun following them around. And lastly, the humor. I'm a big fan of British humor. There's a lot in the book. I mean, the author's British, the book is set in Britain, so there's a lot of that going on. A little bit of snark sprinkled in, and you, again, I'm being a little bit of a broken record, but it adds a great entertainment value to a very heavy topic otherwise. So I didn't give this book a whole full 5 stars. It's a little bit less. If I would give half stars, I would say it's more on the 4.5 side. So what are the points that I didn't like about the book as much? First of all, it's a pretty straightforward story. His twists and turns are not necessarily predictable, but they make sense. You know, you read it and you're like, yep, I'm with you the entire time. There are no like moments in the story, which is fine. So that is totally not what I want to go towards. But because he chose that narration style or that way to tell the plot, some of the motivations of the characters are a little bit too on the nose and a little bit too obvious, which sometimes is kind of like, yeah, okay, I get it, what you're trying to say. Like, you're very detailed with the explanation of why this is right now. You could have, you know, cut a couple of sentences out and I would still have gotten it, if that makes sense. And because it's such a straightforward story, so this book has 500 pages, and because of this, a little bit too on the nose, sometimes it could have probably been condensed just a little bit, maybe to 450 pages, 450 pages, and then kept some of that very obvious stuff out of it, and it would have made it a little bit more fluent to read. And the second part, that is the worst thing you can ever do to me, they killed a dog. If at least the death of the dog would have furthered the plot in any way, I would still have not been happy, but you know, then at least his death would have had a purpose. But it didn't. There was no reason why this dog had to die. The dog had to continue walking around through Britain with them. But no, he had to kill the dog off. I hate it when people do that. I am not a fan of authors, animals in general. Do not kill animals. I don't care about, you know, humans. Kill them all. I don't care. It's like, no empathy here. But not animals. Nope. I don't want that. I mean, monsters, maybe, you know, if they're evil animals. Okay, but this was a very handsome, very lovable dog that he killed off, and I was sad. So who is this book for? Well, if you haven't figured out, I threw out a bunch of keywords already. Things like feminism, things like environmentalism, social commentary, dare I say socialism. So if these keywords and these topics generally don't freak you out, this book is a really interesting way of approaching that conversation. It's such a unique way of thinking about this topic, about talking through this topic. I think he did an incredible job addressing these issues with respect while making it entertaining, and it definitely is clear that the author is an Arthurian Knights geek because he did that to perfection, and it was just a perfect combination of these two topics, and it was a blast to read. Have you heard of the book? Have you even maybe read the book? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I would love to have people that I can talk with this about because I thought it was a fantastic read, definitely one of my favorites in the month of July. And with that, I hope you enjoyed my little review of, one more time with glare, Perilous Times by Thomas D. Lee. If you haven't yet, I would love if you subscribe to my channel so you can see more of my reviews, more of my weird ramblings that I have a lot of, trust me. Like the video if you liked my review, and then I hope I see you soon with my next video. Till then, have a great rest of your day. Bye!